What's going on, everybody? RCX MMA here. Welcome back to the channel. I know I'm like a week late on this whole topic, but I wanted to talk about the Dana White situation. Sorry for the extended absence that I took there. I know not many people will even notice, so it's fine. But my father-in-law was visiting, and we live 500 miles away from him. He's one of my dear friends, favorite family members by far. Or that's not true. One of my favorite family members. Haha. But yeah, he was here visiting for the holidays, and it's been a long time since I've seen him, so I decided to focus on, family time. We went ice fishing and stuff like that, so but we're back. We're gonna be putting out a video every day this entire year. We're gonna grow this channel. But anyways, we're gonna talk about Dana White and the slap incident now, before we get started on that. I live in rural BC here, so where it's acceptable and not frowned upon to keep chickens in your backyard. We got people here that have stands at the front of their yard with a glass jar with all of their eggs, and it says $5 on it for a carton. Now, most of the time up here, people's driveways are a lot bigger than the ones you would see in the city, so they're nowhere near their chicken stands or their egg stands. They just trust that their neighbors will actually put the $5 in. So I'm going to pretend and hope that you guys will act like my neighbors and hit subscribe. There's nothing I can do about it if you don't, but I would really appreciate it if you did. So anyways, okay, let's talk about this. Dana White caught on camera giving his old lady a smack, right? If you just heard that with lack of context, you would be utterly and totally disgusted. And I mean, a lot of people probably are still utterly disgusted. We've seen the clear biases of the MMA media, I think, when it comes to this situation. I think that if this was Scott Coker, I don't know that the outrage would have been so crazy. But I've literally seen him, people calling for him to be fired. And I've seen this one comparison quite a bit. Like, people say, "Oh, I don't even remember what the guy's name was, dude. I don't watch any other sport." Okay, but apparently there was some NBA dude. I don't know if he was an owner of a team or like what he was, but he got fired because of some allegations. And I see people saying, "Come on, man, so and so got blah 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 fired from the NBA for an whatever." Okay, well, this is not the NBA, my guy. This is not the NBA. We've also seen way worse things happen, and athletes and other famous people get like little to no pushback. I mean, Gervonta Davis is fighting like this weekend, is he not? He was on camera grabbing his lady by the throat, and then just recently, this most recent, I guess, alleged domestic abuse. I don't know what happened totally, but it seems like I don't know how, I want to choose my words carefully here, but like, no one really, I think the way people react to these sort of things a lot of the time may, I don't want to say it. I think the color of skin might matter a little bit from time to time. I don't see a lot of people keeping the same energy with Gervonta Davis. I don't see people, especially not in the boxing community. Like, nobody really shits on Floyd Mayweather for his allegations. I mean, I guess um, one, one example of this would be like Greg Hardy. But people went pretty hard on him. And, but I don't think as hard as they're going on Dana White. And Greg Hardy beat the shit out of his girlfriend. And the size difference, all that. Like, I mean, dude. Anyways, let's not compare apples to oranges. Let's just talk about the situation. I just think that a lot of the times, like, it depends a lot on the guy's status and ethnicity and everything. All of it gets played into it. Now, I want to preface this, dude. I would never, ever hit a chick. I haven't hit a chick. I never would hit a chick. I've got a wife, and, you know, I don't have daughters, but I've got a mom and a sister, and if some dude was giving them smacks, I probably wouldn't be too happy about it. I think that if a girl hits you, you should hurt her emotionally, because it's much more effective. And I'm just kidding. Obviously. But with that being said, dude, it's pretty crazy seeing the double standards that society has in real time. Because you'll see a lot of these, like, red pill videos and shit on YouTube where they will talk about that, double standards between men and women. And I've seen, like, that chick, Just Pearly Things or whatever. She's done, like, social experiment videos where or maybe she's just talked about them, but where they have a guy and a girl walk into a public crowded place and arguing. And when the guy is the aggressor, a bunch of people will run to the defense of the poor innocent woman involved. But when the roles are reversed, people laugh and go, "Oh man, I wonder what he did." You know, it seems like it's pretty accepted by most for women to hit men. Even if you just compare their situation, like their two slaps, she got him way better than he got her. His almost looked like more of a push away, if I'm being honest. There's still no excuse, but... And, you know, I really wish that the lights were on in that club, because I have a feeling we would have seen the mythical Dana Pink out that night. I don't think Dana White was the one that did that slap. I think that was Dana Pink. I don't think he should be fired over this. And I think that the way him and his wife handled it after the fact is probably the best way that they could have possibly handled it. But it seems like everybody's just ignoring what she says and what she did and focusing on him. And I guess that's comes with the territory of being like the rich and famous one. But I could understand this outrage if the first slap was not caught on video. But her slap was way fucking harder. And, yeah, this is I may be a bit of a fucking loser here, but this is why I don't drink, man. Alcohol leads to problems. It's an amplifier. It amplifies all things negative. It can amplify positive things, but if you've got any trace of negativity going on in your life, alcohol's making it way worse. I just, yeah, man. You should never hit a girl. But a girl should never hit a guy. And what led to it was clearly, like, something verbal, right? Like Dana White had said something to her. She looked visibly upset. Like you could tell whatever he had said bugged her, and she swung. Could you imagine if men acted like that, though? Like, that would be way worse. If she had said something to him, he turned around, had his hands, in his face like that, and then turned around and clocked her one, then I'd be fine with people calling for his job. But that's not what happened. And if that was a guy that had slapped him, everybody would be screaming self-defense. But when it's a chick hitting you, to most people, self-defense just goes out the window. And you're just supposed to, like, sit there and take it. And, this is actually, like, a bit of a personal topic for me because, before my lovely wife that I am now with, we have 2 kids together. I was with this girl all throughout high school who was extremely manipulative. Close to evil as a person I'd ever met up to that point. I mean, yeah, crazy. Came from a bit of a broken home. She used to hit me quite a bit, and I never hit her back because, one, I was always taught never put your hands on a woman, and as much as I don't like my dad, that was one thing that he never did. I never saw him hit my mom ever. But so yeah, she used to hit me pretty good, and I never did anything back. I wouldn't even really defend myself because I was like, dude, I could probably hurt this girl just by like grabbing her, and I didn't want to be held responsible for that. She had some older brothers that were intimidating, and but it's kind of like you can't let that happen. Obviously, you got to remove yourself from the situation before it gets to the point where you hit them back. But one time, she thought that I had been cheating on her, which turned out to be extra hilarious because I later found out that she was cheating on me, like, damn near the whole time. She beat me up. It looked like I had been in a fight with a man. And she made my scalp bleed from trying to pull my hair. She raked my face with her nails. She punched me in the face multiple times. You name it. Just did a number on me. And I left her house after not touching her once and went to go walk home. And this local cop, because I lived in a pretty small town, so the cops kind of got to know people there. They'd always work like the same areas and whatever. So he pulls me over and he goes, "Where's the other guy?" And he goes, "What did you do to the other guy?" And I was like, "Nothing." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, dude?" "Nothing." And he goes, "You were clearly just in a fight." And I go, "No, I wasn't." And then he realized what street we were on. And his jaw, like, dropped to the floor. And he goes, "Holy shit." And he goes, "You want me to press charges?" And no, I don't want you to press charges. And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I know I shouldn't be asking." He's like, "Did you hit her back?" And I said, No, I didn't." And he's like, "You sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." And he he felt real bad. He goes, "Do you need to ride home?" All this shit. No, I don't. And he was like, "Okay, man." So I'd been beaten up so badly that he thought I had been in a fight with another guy, and I had a bit of a reputation around my hometown, especially during high school, for getting in some pretty good fights, and I never lost. So that's why he was like, "Well, where's the other guy?" Because he wanted to see, he goes, if he looks that bad, what's the other guy look like? And I don't know why I'm even telling this story, but it's kind of just like cautionary. Like, you can't let that shit happen. And if you hit them back once, that relationship's done, because almost every time you guys fight now, that's going to be what happens. It will evolve way too quickly into a physical confrontation, and that's not good. But I can also see, after going through that, like, I could see a guy hitting a girl. Because you know what, dude, I'm not going to pretend like I'm perfect. If she didn't have brothers that scared the fuck out of me, I don't know that I wouldn't have. Because she had beat me up bad. And it is hard in the moment to sit there and take it, despite the fact that the person beating you up has a fucking vagina, dude. You know? And I saw some people commenting on the Dana White situation saying, well, it's never the first time. The first time somebody gets caught is never the first time. He's probably been doing this forever. Doing what? Hitting her back? You know? Nobody's saying this about her. And it's fucking wild to me, dude. They're right, though. It probably isn't the first time. But that doesn't mean that it's not the first time he has smacked her back. In all likelihood, this is not the first time his wife has fucking smacked him as hard as she could. This probably happens regularly. They had said, we'd known each other since we were 12. And been through a lot of shit together. This and that, whatever. There's no way that it's the first time she's hit him. And it's probably not the first time he's hit her back either. So it's a shitty situation all around, but I really do wish that that people would condemn both sides equally. I'm not like, I've seen these jokes and they're funny, right? Like, well, equal rights, equal fights. Like, feminists wanted equal rights, and then every time something like this happens, they scream fucking that they're female, and it's like, well, yeah, man. I mean, look, women are obviously way more vulnerable, and a guy could do a lot more damage to a girl than a girl could do to a guy. But if that guy's not willing to either put his foot down and leave or strike back, then that statement that I just made is not true. Because the amount of damage that girl did to me is way more than anything I even emotionally, like, You can't just let it happen. And I don't think that slapping them back is the way to deal with it, but you cannot just let it happen, because each time they feel more comfortable with what they're doing, and it will eventually get worse, because it started off like that, man. It started off with a slap here and there, and then the next thing I know, I'm getting like legitimately beat up by this fucking girl. So, sorry, this is a kind of a downer video, I guess, but fuck, man. I know what it's like to be on the receiving end. And they, people like to say, well, it's a girl. Like, what are they? They can't hurt you. Like, they can, though. That's what I'm saying. If it goes past the first strike, yeah, that first slap maybe stings a little bit. Whatever, you don't get a black eye, you don't get none of this, whatever. But then the next thing you know, you're leaving that girl's house with blood coming out of your scalp, blood coming out of the scratches on your face, a black eye, like, she did more physical damage to me than any one-on-one fight I had with a guy, because I wasn't willing to even defend myself. And I'm not saying that this is like the Dana White situation, and I'm not saying that he deserves a pass because he's hitting her just to make sure that he doesn't get abused further, because it didn't look like what it was. But that's the kind of shit that double standards lead to, because you know what, dude? She didn't lose any friends over that. No one condemned her actions. Whereas, if it were the other way around, and I beat her up to the point where she was bleeding out of her head and face, and left with bruises and shit, I probably would have lost all my friends. And I would have also probably been charged, so I really think that before people jump to criticize, especially over such a small incident, I think they need to think of the broader implications of what it means when you are actually saying to a guy, nope, you can't defend yourself, you can't do anything, you've got to just sit back and take it, because eventually it leads to something much worse. And, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, man. People are probably going to not like this opinion, because it's not the standard, like, you should never hit a woman. But, I did preface that. I prefaced with that. And I then told you a personal story about how I wouldn't never. So, clearly, you know where I stand on that. If you want to misinterpret what I'm saying, go right ahead. But, yeah. Anyways. See you at the next video. Like and subscribe. See ya.